Yeah.
Here we go.
All right, guys. So I'm going to cover these normal pairs, at least 6. So DXY, AU, AJ, UJ, EJ, and gold. And I'm just going to do a quick recap, very quick recap of the previous week. Okay, so let's go DXY, see how this played out. And this should go pretty well with, what this week is doing. Okay, so pretty much no movement. These two trade paths are going to be pretty much similar for this week. We'll get into that in a second. AU, how did this play out? Pretty much no movement as well. Oh, no, I'm sorry. What am I talking about? There we go. I had to scroll down a little bit more. DXY, here we go. Oh, there we go. This is from last week. So it actually fell through support. We had a bunch of consolidation in this area. Resistance at 94.4, support at 93.8. Clearly, there was a nice transition here. And then here was the actual break of support. And then we've been consolidating at this point. So this is going to be a nice new analysis going into this week. We'll have 2 scenarios based around how price action's reacting at 93.8. Okay, now AU. Let's see how AU did last week. Okay, was very bullish. We had these 2 scenarios here. It continued bullish. We got a nice higher low off 0.74, found a new higher high near 0.75, and now it's pulling back a little bit. So let's see, is this overextended or will it continue for this week? See how AJ did. Very, very overextended. We needed to see a pullback. Again, structure would have been ideal. We didn't get it. Instead, it pushed higher and then reversed. So we found some resistance in this area, around 85 resistance. Now it's pulling back. Okay, let's jump over to UJ now, see how last week did. Overall bullish. We had a huge rally out of this pattern. We moved through major resistance levels at 111.5 and also 113. So from here, could have pushed higher and then pulled back. Ideally, we were waiting for a higher low. Normally when there's this much momentum, you don't really have much of a choice either than to trade the retest or wait for signs of a trend continuation. So this one's pulling back. So our high, 0%, where we thought the higher high was actually pretty exact. Now it's pulling back. We'll cover that for the week ahead in a second. Let's see, EJ, again, super overextended, needed a pullback. So that was kind of the theme with last week on JPY pairs. We're very much overextended, needed to see structure. So this one pushed a little bit higher as well. Reversed around this weekly level, 132.7. Now it's on the downside. We'll see what we got for this week. And let's check gold, see how that did last week. So this one recently broke out of this consolidation phase, bumped up to the 1800, rejected pretty hard from there. But it did test 1800, so we were expecting to see the next lower high, or if it was gonna, break 1800. So let's see what happened. This thing shot right back into resistance. Huge momentum pushing through 1800, and now is really the area where we're expecting either going to continue through or it's going to pull back. So this is really the level 1800. How it reacts around here is going to determine the movement for the week ahead. So that was last week. Let's jump to this week now. Okay, so what is this week looking like? Okay, we just covered on DXY what had happened last week. It was very bullish. We saw that we were consolidating just above 93.8 and then it fell lower. See right here. So this was all last week, all this consolidation. And then here was the drop right here. So nice little transition, break of this higher low, price action drop, consolidated, lower high there, broke through support, and then is consolidating again. So this is a pretty good sign. Overall, we are pretty bullish on the daily, if you guys saw that. See, very much bullish here. We're moving higher, right? Key or very strong characteristics of a bullish trend. Higher highs, higher lows, moving pretty good, forming good structure on each break. Okay, so with that, we obviously want to try and ride that trend. That's the most powerful trend that's present for where we're at. So we clearly want to try and ride that into next week. But what do we need to see? So where we're at now is okay. It could pull back to the 61.8 area. A little bit of confluence in here, see a higher low, and then, move higher. But it's a little too early to tell because we really got to make sure that we're actually getting a higher low. So that means we need to see proper consolidation. Some nice wicks would be good, and then good bullish momentum coming off this level. So until we see that, we're going to be, patient. We're going to sit back. because this could, obviously happen. What if a whole bunch of bearish momentum steps in? We blow right through this level, this black line right here. This is also marking previous broken structure on the daily. You can see this was the last lower high of this bearish trend, and then price action broke through that over here. So that's a pretty key area. So if it breaks through that, I would pretty much say that it's going to drop and find, some support down closer to 91.5. That would definitely be very likely if we did break this zone, but we got to wait either way. So, the future movement for DXY for this week, still unknown. We're going to be patient and wait, but we do ideally want to, ride the overall bullish trend. So let's move over to AU. Daily time frame first, see what the overall trend is. So we were very bearish here. Then we started kind of ranging with a lot of volume between 0.74, 0.72. Okay, so this obviously, solidified as key resistance. Bunch of attempts over here. Nice attempt here, came right back with strong momentum. And then finally, once we broke that, we were able to call the daily time frame pretty much bullish. I mean, we've been in this, above this zone for a few days now. So we're pretty much bullish. All we need to see is a higher low, and then we're looking to continue higher. And we could, enter long, target towards the next resistance level. But overall, we're bullish here on the daily. Let's go to the 4-hour, take a closer look at what potential scenarios we could find for the week ahead. So very bullish. This is really, really good channel right here. Nice trend. Keeps pushing higher. Nice pullbacks. Nice higher lows. It could confluence areas. So this would be really, really nice to see. So we did form structure already. It pulled back at 38.2. This would be the time to see a nice rally. Some nice bullish setups, pushing higher, and then get the next higher low. So like a nice transition of this level right here would be perfect. And then we target higher towards 0.76. Now, because this is so overextended, this pair is pretty much bullish as long as we're above 0.74, right? So that means it could pull back, hit the 78.6 fib level, as well as support, turn around, and then still push higher, potentially up to the resistance level here or weekly, right? So with that, maybe there's a short opportunity on a lower time frame, just playing the retracement down to this level at max. But really, that's the only bearish scenario I could see until we're completely below 0.74. So it looks something like this. I'll just use the brush tool. We need to see something like this below 0.74 for me to comfortably say, okay, the 4-hour time frame is full bearish. Okay, because we're just, sometimes that happens when you're so overextended. There's just so much room to pull back, and still be considered overall bullish. So just keep that in mind. In high volume scenarios. So this one's looking overall good. We got 2 ways this could go. We'll see. I'm honestly waiting for some momentum right now, pretty early in this week, but we will see. So let's move over to AJ. And again, I know we just covered them from last week too, but it's still pretty much showing overextended charts on all JPY pairs. Okay, we're still going to see that this is very much present for all of these pairs. Okay, so what's the daily time frame doing on AJ? Same thing here, was very bearish. We had key resistance right here at 91 or 81.5. And then once we broke here, we were comfortable saying that AJ was now bullish, right? But we have not seen a higher low yet. So we haven't been able to really get in on a long opportunity unless you play the break. So hopefully we see that this week. But let's drop to the 4-hour with this daily bullish trend in mind. And now let's see what the 4 hours doing. So this one is interesting because there's 2 scenarios. There's pretty much 2 trade scenarios here. It's going to be like a short buy situation. Because again, as I was saying on the other pairs, that a lot of high volume situations. So that leaves a lot of room for pullback. Obviously, we're very overextended here. We're seeing some resistance at 85. And it looks like we're in a short-term bearish downtrend, right? Lower lows, lower highs. And it may continue that way. So there may be some nice short opportunities on a lower time frame, even executing on the 15-minute probably. And then you could set up a nice short opportunity right here if the setups are there. And this would be a pretty good risk to reward, 2 to 1 pretty much. You have to get a little more precise with these levels on entry, but this is essentially what it would look like for the first step of this, right? So you could just literally play the retracement on this down towards support, which is where a 50% fib level is. And it's not unlikely that price action will touch here and then continue higher, because pretty much price action could pull back to 83.25 and still very much be bullish on the daily. Okay, this thing could pull back quite a bit and still be overall bullish. And I chose this level because this was kind of an area where we had a prior range, and we stuck in this area for a very long time. So this area obviously has some significance and is a level that I was the most comfortable targeting. Hold on one second. This computer is unplugged. All right, there we go. So this was the level that I was most comfortable targeting, right at absolute max. So this could be a nice play here. But again, as long as we're above this level, we're pretty much bullish. So look for that short, look for it to drop, and then look for a nice higher low on this 4-hour time frame. Zoom out a little bit, wait for it to do its thing and react at the weekly, and then we can make a better play from there. Right, so that's AJ. There is, there's something there. It's kind of good when there's this much volume. You could choose, either side of the market if, again, the setups are there. But let's move over to UJ. Man, dude, I'm like struggling to breathe over here.
My dude's falling ill on the call.
I'm trying. All right, let's go to UJ now. Daily time frame. What's the overall trend here? So very simply, I mean, this is the most clearly bullish chart that we're going to cover tonight, probably. I mean, we had a ton of consolidation. Obviously, it broke to the upside. Nice higher low, retest of 111.5, and then it rallied higher. Okay, so we're right around the monthly now, just above 113. But the only thing we really need right now is the trend, which is bullish. So let's go to the 4-hour and see what the fibs are telling us, see what we could expect the next higher low to enter long at, and where our next structure level could be. Okay, so I fibbed this swing from this higher low to here to this high, and now we're pulling back. We did get a little transition here. I actually didn't mark it. Right here, nice little 4-hour, nothing crazy, completely normal when you see this much volume. And I'm not going to consider it immediately UJ's bearish. It's dropping just because the 4-hour gave me a transition. Not at all. This is showing to me that price action's more or less ready for a retracement, and that's what it's showing us, right? It's pulling back, and now my eyes are targeted on the monthly, which is the biggest influence area, also because the 38.2% fib level's there. So this would be a perfect area for a higher low. Look for some nice bullish setups, enter long, boom, ride that momentum to the next higher high, closer to 116, and also our negative 27% fib level. So this one's looking pretty good. I'm actually feeling pretty confident on UJ this week. Very bullish, as I was saying. I mean, this momentum's crazy. And if we do see this play out, similar to this maybe, round out like this and then start to push higher, that would be just absolutely beautiful. Okay, so what's the opposite look like? The opposite is this monthly completely failing to act as support. Price action moves right through it and just melts to a lower level at 111.5. But the catch here is that it's still bullish technically. If you look at the daily in comparison, still bullish, which is, kind of annoying. And that's where we could maybe see a higher low there as well. I'm not going to advise that far in the future. I think this is going to take a little while to play out. But that's just, the craziness when you see these higher time frames step in and make their moves. You just get this immense momentum, and then the potential to pull back is greater. Okay, so that could be, a short-term short opportunity, similar to, the one we just talked about on AJ. Just look for lower highs below the monthly, ones that make sense, in terms of risk reward, where your stop loss would be. Just following that 4-hour trend, as it descends into, higher time frame support. So just be aware of that. 2 good scenarios out of UJ for this week. Let's jump over to EJ. Again, overextended as hell. But yeah, we do have some scenarios here as well. So let's go to the daily. Let's just grab the trend real quick and then go to the 4-hour. Very bullish. I mean, these JPY pairs, guys, they're like literally like triplets. These 3 that I just covered, UJ, AJ, EJ. This pattern has been the same on all of them, right? Key level of resistance. This one is 130, and then an absolute rally through that. pretty much changing the daily trend to bullish, or at least solidifying it to bullish. And then, now we've established a higher high, looking for a pullback. Okay, so we're bullish. Let's go to the 4-hour. See what's going on here. When we click it. All right.
Dude, I just like opened up my MetaMask wallet.
Yeah.
And it said I had like 25,000 in there when I only was supposed to have like 2,000. And I was like, what the? And I just refreshed the screen and it went away.
Oh my God.
I was like, what the?
Wow. That's like the best glitch ever.
Jesus Christ.
I wish. I mean, there's a lot of bugs in some of these early projects, guys. You never know.
Sheesh.
Yeah, dang.
I'm out here like looking up the price of fucking Ethereum. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
So, maybe one of the exchanges spiked. That actually happened to me. Not to get sidetracked, but I was on an exchange holding an altcoin one time, and there was manipulation on the exchange, and it had shot my coin up like 30,000% in the matter of a minute, and then came right back down. And it turns out it was like a pump on the exchange. It was a low cap coin, so they were able to do it. But yeah, I mean, you never know.
It happens.
You never know in this game. Manipulation, it could be anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting, guys. Get your adrenaline going. So, all right, where were we? Daily bullish 4-hour. We're taking a look at that extension here. We threw a fib on it from conviction towards the higher high. We actually did not form structure through this whole rally, which is, not surprising considering the volume we saw last week. But that means we have opportunity this week. So I know somebody is typing in chat as we speak. That's a head and shoulders. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, right around key resistance. So no coincidence there. Price action reacted at 132.7, came back down. We absorbed all the buyers here. Sellers stepped in, and now it's driving price action to the downside. And that's shown through this transition right here. A nice little 4-hour bearish trend. And there actually was an entry there, believe it or not. You just play in the retracement. So pretty much the alternative trade scenario that we covered like a bunch of times already. This was a potential one on EJ as well. Okay, over 2-to-1, something like that, roughly. Stop losses above the MAs here as well. And then we're targeting 131.3, which is where we would like to see our next higher low. So nice confluence area here, 50% bid level, and then a zone that's held up in the past. So this would be really, again, nice area to see a higher low. And then continuation of this overall trend would be beautiful. But yeah, I mean, sometimes, again, like when you get this high volume, you can kind of counter trend on these higher time frames, what we're usually trading throughout the week, and get still really good positions early on. So just one more advantage that we can take on the market with high volume setups there. But for the whole trend to change, for me to say, okay, this is really looking more bearish, I need to see this 4-hour trend continue, break 131.3, give us a strong lower high, and then push lower. I'd be interested in shorting after that, targeting towards some of these major support levels then. But yeah, overextended. What else is new? We'll see how this plays out pretty soon. Hopefully in the next day or so. This one's kind of between the zones. This one's probably like a Monday opportunity if we continue with this momentum here. We'll see. And then finally, let's cover gold. So this one's it's a love-hate relationship always, man, with gold. Always. I'll kill it one week, maybe I'll make $8,000 on freaking gold one week, and then I'll lose 5 the next. Like, kills me. Like this past week, gold bit me twice. So not that excited on gold lately, at least last week. But hopefully something different this week. Okay, so daily time frame. What's the overall trend? Still bearish, although keep in mind huge range between 1800 and 1825. Pretty much every time we, confirm price action, back above this zone, we just start ranging. It starts ranging for weeks, which is just terrible. And we're right at that level again. We're knocking at the door right at 1800. If it breaks above, it's just going to be like an eternity of ranging, I'm expecting. But hopefully we can spot some rejection right now. So let's go to the 4-hour. We are bearish. Let's see what the 4-hour is telling us, though, as we're closer to 1800 here. Okay, so this is looking more bullish, 4-hour, right? Huge consolidation. Nice rip to the upside as we covered in the beginning. This happened This happened all last week, right? Or this was 2 weeks ago, actually. It pushed up, came back down, was waiting to see how it reacted at this broken level. And then this was all last week. It pushed up, pushed up, pushed up. We pretty much touched 1800 and then huge rally. So this kind of looks like a last attempt to break this level, or like one really strong attempt too. And now it's coming right back. So it could be a fake out. So I'm going to be extra patient here. Honestly, if this comes back up with like a morning star or something, with this type of volume, it's going to skew the trade a little bit in terms of risk reward. So that's not going to be that great. Honestly, I would like to see this consolidate a little bit more and then go for an attempt higher. I'd be comfortable buying that. But you know, if it were to push back lower, give us a lower high below 1800, that would be a nice short opportunity as well. So really, you know, these next few candles are going to determine a lot. It's either going to consolidate or it's going to push up and then not give us the, you know, push up right now and not give us the greatest opportunity, I'd say. But I mean, for you risky fellas, you know, whatever, go for it if you see that momentum kick in. But yeah, guys, that's gold. That's pretty much all I got for you guys. So we did the recap, and then you know, we just covered these for the week ahead: DXY, AU, AJ, UJ, EJ, and gold. So a lot of momentum. Hopefully we get well, it's looking better this week. Last week was kind of a lost cause. A lot of things took off early. But yeah, this week's looking pretty good. So I'm gonna pass off to Angelo, and he'll cover the rest for you guys while I catch my breath.
Oh yeah, we gotta save a life out here. Let's go. It's no joke, man. The vid.
Yeah, it's serious, guys.
Gets it. All right, guys. So we're gonna cover. I'm gonna probably progressively start to cover more crypto pairs, but we're gonna start, as always, with Forex. Do some of the major pairs. We're gonna do DXY first. I haven't looked at this actually in a couple of weeks, at least on the call. So we're gonna go ahead and just kind of bump up to the higher time frame here and see what's going on. So we can clearly see we had our level marked up here, and we're always just kind of marking these levels on the weekly time frame because this is ultimately what's going to be, you know, more significant. We have this weekly zone where price had found support multiple times. If we even look left, we found some resistance here. So resistance, support, support, resistance, resistance, and then price had come up to this area over the past couple of weeks. We were covering this, and as soon as it came up to this level, it formed this doji that tells us price is getting ready to reverse. Then we have the bearish candle, another spike up, but closes bearish, and then we have finally last week finally started to push down. So Dixie is on this retracement, and it's at an interesting point now because it's back at this resistance level. So it could definitely find support in this area right now, because remember, we're always just looking for the breaks and the retest. So obviously we have the break, now would be the retest where we potentially go long, because this is sort of a bullish trend. You know, as we come up, remember, we're literally all the way up on the weekly time frame on this. Now we're all the way up on the monthly. Obviously the monthly was able to get above this resistance level. Could it come back to retest this area? I don't know. But at the same time, this looks very bullish. So we had this huge candle pop up. If we kind of measure what this was, 2.6% move. So this thing moved up, you know, a ton of pips to the upside, and then coming down to the weekly. I think this is safe to assume that this is a you know, good level to kind of see, look for rejection. We have the resistance, now turn support, and then coming down to the 4-hour time frame, we can clearly see the trend has reversed. So it was bullish. We had this higher low, and then this higher low failed. We had our first lower high, and now we're getting these subsequent lower highs. So really what we need to see is we need a higher low to form, right? If we're looking for this thing to pop up and to go to the upside and to act as, you know, this to act as support, this is exactly what we need to see. We need to break above this level and then start to form some uptrend structure. But if this thing does decide to just continue lower, which it certainly can, you know, obviously it's going to have to break this significant resistance level, this 93.5 area. And 93 has always kind of been our level we've been looking at with DXY, at least over the last like year or so. It finally did break above here recently, but if it does break below this area, then we're going to obviously look for it to come back down all the way to retest this 93 area, which would obviously be pretty significant. So these are kind of two scenarios with Dixie at the moment. I would say, let's just get this colored. I would say we're always looking to kind of continue with the trend. So until we see a break of resistance, until we see a higher low form, this is definitely still bearish, right? This is definitely still bearish, definitely still rejecting this previous resistance or previous support right there. So we would need it to get above this zone right here. Let's just mark this out. We would need it to get above kind of this 93.8 area to really be confident that buyers are going to step in. And again, going back up to the weekly, that this thing's going to start to push and make that next kind of leg here. So let's keep that in mind. You know, Dixie, we're going to just say we're bearish. We're expecting it to go lower unless it does break resistance. And let's look at that in regards to USD Cad now, because obviously if Dixie continues to go lower, then CAD most likely will gain strength against the dollar if the dollar is getting weaker. So on Dixie or on USD CAD, let's bump up to the weekly time frame. So I'm noticing on this one, if we just kind of clear everything, we can see right here last week, how did price action form? This is a doji candle. We did have this push down and then this doji forms. This is a reversal candle. Now we could have another push down, right? We could wick down again. That's certainly not out of the realm of imagination here, but this is telling me that this is just a reversal, right? So we broke support. We've yet to retest this area. So we're looking for support now to be retested. And if we bring everything back on here and then come down to the 4 hour, obviously the weekly, if we just zoom out, I have this weekly level placed and this is why. Let's just zoom out a little bit more. So we have, looking back all the way to this area, we have support. We have some support here, we have support here, resistance, support. So obviously price has reacted to this like 1248, 1225 area multiple times in both directions. And then we clearly see this formed as support previously and then just broke. So we're looking for price to definitely retest in that area. And obviously that's going to be a significant area for us. When it comes into that zone, it'll most likely reverse. Now, looking at the 4 hour time frame, we do have like a reverse or inverted head and shoulders pattern. Not the best one in the world because the left shoulder is kind of as low as the head. But regardless, we are seeing it form. So we're at the bottom here, and we recently, last week, we had this big push up. So a lot of volume kicked in at the right shoulder. And we're definitely in a downtrend, right? We're overall in a downtrend. So we formed this low. We had that first lower low. We had this, our lower high. And then we had this lower low, lower high, lower low here. And then price formed this first higher low right here. So pretty much what we need to look for now is price going to like stay above this zone. So I have this zone marked down here. This is basically, if I bring on and just look at the session volume from the previous, several sessions, we can see in this area, we had a bit of an overlap. So this is telling me that during these two sessions, price basically found this 1, 2, 3, 5 area as like the happy medium. This is where like supply and demand was, averaged out during these two sessions. So right now, basically, I'm using this as a zone. I'm gonna just bring this off. I'm using this as a zone, and it's gonna be as support because we're already above this area since we did have this push up. But I'm not gonna take buys until we get a reaction, right? So we had this first higher low. That's great, but price could definitely just tank now and just break support and just head low. So we don't want to just take buys now because there's nothing telling us yet to take buys. We want to see some sort of retest. We want price to come into this area and then actually have like a reaction, or it does this, then forms another higher low. We just have to be patient. We'd rather be patient than get in early and then get stopped out just by being impatient. So we want to see a little bit more confirmation there. Obviously, this was that previous, resistance level that's now breaking. So I'm just gonna mark that out. So this is ideally what we're looking to see. We're going to target this upper zone because price is most likely going to retest this upper zone if we do break. And we can clearly see, you know, this would kind of be the trade, very conservative trade if we did get this one. This would be the trade to the upside, and then to the downside, it would basically be if price gets back below this blue zone right here, this is really what we're going to look for. We're going to look for that break and retest. So this might take a little bit longer, but these are the two trade ideas, you know, on UCAD. And remember with Dixie, if Dixie ends up just going short and continuing with its bearish trends, let's bump up here. Let's get this. So if DXY continues with this bearish trend, then UCAD most likely will continue to be bearish as well. CAD will gain strength against the US dollar. But if Dixie does decide to pop kind of at this support level that it's at, remember on the weekly, if it does decide to start heading to the upside, then UCAD most likely will continue with this like inverted head and shoulders pattern. So always going to have two scenarios out here, guys. You know, currently at the moment, to be honest, you know, we're not seeing a higher low form quite yet. So I'm still thinking this is going to head bearish. But if this does break above this level, then, you know, we'll look for buys. So let's go next to GJ. This one's actually pretty clean right now. If we just let's come all the way up to the monthly time frame. Let's actually go to the weekly. So weekly time frame, I have this, you know, huge zone marked out here going all the way back, but we don't even need to go back that far. But we can see resistance, support, all in this area acted as support. Then we had resistance, and look how it touches this area and just goes down, never even revisits. So it's definitely a strong price point, this 156,500 area, and then again reacted to this zone 156, 150. So we just popped back up in this area. A lot of momentum, definitely pretty bullish. Right now, definitely a lot of buyers stepping in, but we are now back at this resistance level. Let's just observe on each time frame. Let's just look at the daily time frame. Look how price broke the support. You know, this was very bullish, and then sellers just kind of stepped in, kicked the buyer's ass. So if we just come back, bring all this on, come down to the 4 hour, this is pretty much what we're looking at here. You know, you could say this is like a head and shoulders pattern as well, but pretty much, you know, this was bullish. This was a higher low, came up, actually formed another higher low here. We could actually clean this up a little bit. So we have this, came up, price formed this little higher low, pushed up, and then this is like the best break and retest, and we're overextended. Very, very simple trade there. So now we're looking for this to do basically the same thing. We're having the break and retest of the support. This is a very strong support level. So at this point, I would even just put a sell limit at this level, target down here, target lower. This is a pretty high probability trade right now just because we got multiple kind of confirmations on here. We bump back up to the weekly. You know, it's likely that it's going to retest this lower level down here that hasn't retested yet. Daily time frame obviously broke support right there. 4 hour time frame trend completely reversed, and we already had our first high, our lower high, so we could use that, put our stops. And then down here, pretty much why I'm targeting 154,980 is because price consolidated in this area a lot. We just kind of, I don't know if I could zoom in there, but we just kind of look at this area. We can just see all of this freaking consolidation. This is for a period of 12 days. Price just was staying in this area. Then look when it came back in this area, also consolidating here for a whole day. So when price comes back to that zone, it's definitely going to find it as support. You know, whether it sticks and just like reverses off that zone, we don't know, but it could just fall, like consolidate and then fall even more. But I'm just looking at this as definitely a selling opportunity for sure. So I'm going to move GJ up the list. Let's go next to Nzd Usd. So this one's kicking ass on the open right now, which is super interesting. Let's look at the weekly. So weekly time frame, let's just zoom out a little bit, zoom back in. So weekly time frame, basically what I'm looking at, I marked this kind of blue zone. I'm just going to zoom out again. So along this area, we've had support, we've had support. Now let's look at, more immediately. This is kind of what we're more worried about. We obviously had support in this area. We had support in this area, but then we had this act as a key resistance area. So that is why I'm looking at this as a key level, is because of how price moved off of this level previously. It did hold above here, but this is, not anything too crazy, but this is definitely more significant. So now price is back in that zone. And then coming down to the 4-hour time frame, look how the 4-hour is actually taking shape right now. So 4-hour, very overextended, obviously, just kind of made this large push to the upside with literally no pullbacks. If we were to like bring on the fibs, literally no pullback. Ideally we're looking for a 38.2 to be revisited. And then now we just had a break of support. So we had a break of support. Well, actually before, when this analysis was actually made, it was obviously before this. Let me just take some of this off. So this is when the analysis was made. I was kind of just looking at it. Okay, this is support. We did just form a doji at the support level. So this obviously is a reversal candle. So that's why it's like scenario one is basically this. We're going to find support here. It's just going to push to the upside. Now it did just have this lower time frame break of structure, right? It did form this like mini lower high. If we go down to like the 30-minute, we can see what I'm talking about. We had price, pushing up. We don't even need to look left. Look, this mini little uptrend on the 30-minute. Simple, it's broken. Then it was retested and confirmed as broken. So that trend definitely reversed on the 30-minute. But mainly just looking at the 4-hour time frame. Price still, in my opinion, needs to break lower. This is the support level. We're still above the support level. Ideally, price breaks lower, and then the opportunity is when we get the break. So something like this. And there's going to be a ton of room for this to push down. We've got 90 pips for target one. I mean, we could do target one here, target two here, and then target three all the way down here, like 200 pips. If we really want to swing trade that, but just look at target one, move our stops up just a little bit. We could have like a nice 2-to-1 risk reward trade right there. So that's what I'm looking at with this. When would I buy? I would only buy if I start to see some more like bullish signals here. I don't like this bearish candle right here. So I have to see a lot more buyers step in. And remember Dixie. So if Dixie pushes up, then NU most likely will push down. If Dixie keeps pushing down, then NU will most likely push up. So I'm just going to leave that where it is on the watch list, not looking at anything more immediately. We'll kind of wait for the next, day or so before we actually get some setup, wait till tomorrow, whatever. And then last Forex pair we're going to cover is going to be GU. So bumping up to the weekly, last week we kind of did a whole lesson on GU and like where it's at on the weekly time frame. If we just zoom out, this upper zone actually is not like super relevant, so I'm just gonna move take that off. But this zone is. So basically we had support here, support here, support here, obviously held, and then now we just broke that. So I'm looking for reversal. I'm looking for this thing to reverse and to come back to the downside. And look how we've been forming structure on GU. We've been forming these lower highs, lower low. So we are looking for the same thing right here. We're looking for this thing to push down for our third time. We could even move this lower. We're looking for this to push down for the third time, taking this off. And just look how last week formed a doji as well. So that's another reversal candle. So that kind of backs up our entire idea there. And then coming down to the 4-hour time frame, we have, let's see. So I had marked this. This is a resistance level I had marked. It's pretty much just a supply zone up here, right? So this is a supply zone, and then coming down to the 4-hour time frame, obviously very bullish, forming these higher highs, higher lows, higher high, higher low, and then look what just happened. We tried to form another higher low, and then it broke. And then this is where we're currently at right here. So let's just make this a little bit thinner. So yeah, we're coming back. We're retesting this. I mean, I would honestly even look to short this, more immediately. I would look to short this even as it's testing this level. You kind of wait for it to reject this area before getting into this, but this is definitely higher up on the watch list. Very similar to GJ. They're both in the same area. We're looking for the same setups. So yeah, we'll see kind of what happens with that. Look at UCAD pushing down a little bit. So let's just stay up on the higher time frames, wait on these. We got NU pushing up. I don't believe these are going to last. So let's wait on those. Let's look at BTC USD. So let's look at Bitcoin up to the monthly. Obviously, everyone thinks Bitcoin is just going to rally to 100. So let's just put this on here just so we actually have a mile marker here, since everyone thinks that Bitcoin is going to get to 100, right now. I mean, it's, I'm not saying it won't ever get there. I mean, maybe it'll get even higher than that. Who knows? But obviously it hasn't been up there yet. So we're just kind of looking at it as it is. This thing is crazy. So right now, obviously a key level is going to be 60. That's always been a level of resistance because of how it rejected here, a few months back. And now we're revisiting that level. I'm right now pretty bullish, on Bitcoin, just because of this move right here, how aggressive this was. I mean, even from here, price came up, volume was insane. Came up here, volume was insane, right? So a lot of volume coming up. But look how price just closed last week. So this thing just closed a little while ago, and we have this, reversal candle kind of at the top here, this like shooting star, whatever you want to call it. So that's definitely a reversal candle. So for me, I don't like the looks of that coming down to the 4-hour as well. Definitely starting to taper off a little bit. But I'm still bullish as long as we're above 60. If it starts to break, I put this in the analysis. If it starts to break below like 58, 800, this area, that's when I'd really start to shift and be less bullish, on Bitcoin, be more conservative. But I'm pretty bullish on it right now. I'm pretty bullish as long as it holds that 60 level. I do think it has the potential to keep heading, a little bit higher. But we'll see. Again, I have no like intraday kind of trades on this. If we look at the 4-hour time frame, I don't like how this thing has broken support right here. So if you wanted to get in on like a actual like margin trade on this one, you would have to wait for something like this, in my opinion, like a break and retest. That way, you're actually getting in on something that's in line with like market structure. Let's see here. Yeah, DXY affects GU. I mean, DXY affects anything that has the US dollar in it, because DXY is just the dollar index. So let's go to Stellar. So Stellar is super interesting right now. So bumping up to the weekly, obviously it is sitting below this resistance level that is major, this 40-cent level. Obviously held as support, then it acted as resistance. So this level is like crazy. This level is serious. I can't see it popping above here. If it did, that'd be significant. So we just have to read what the charts are showing us at the moment. And even looking at the 4-hour, I mean, the 4-hour, the trend overall is bullish, right? The trend overall is pretty bullish. It's been heading to the right of our screen, as they say. But price is starting to lose some momentum here, starting to lose some steam as it tried to make this higher low. It's now just consolidating, and we actually formed 1, 2, 3 lower highs. So really, this thing has the potential to push down, and this would kind of be my trade idea on this one, would just be looking for this break of this support level and then the retest. So Stellar, I'm looking for this thing to break. I mean, it's shooting up now, but I'm definitely more bearish on this because it's below like 2 main resistance levels right now. I had brought this back on, trying to look for some zones as well. I was looking in this area. There's really no overlaps, nothing like too crazy. Like I know there's something here, but in my opinion, nothing too crazy. And then as I zoomed back, we had a bunch of overlap in this area right here. Let's just go back to this zone. Let's take this off. So I had used, what the hell is this thing? Let's take this off. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4 days where we're just kind of consolidating. So I marked that as a resistance zone, definitely a level right there where price is going to range in. And that's exactly what it's doing now. It's ranging right in this zone. We also have the upper resistance up here as well. So definitely looking for this thing to go short. It would need to prove a lot to go bullish. Obviously, it's gonna need a break really all the way above this level to start to turn loose. And I just don't see that happening right now. I mean, it certainly can, but just based on, trade what we see, guys. We're not trying to be predictors. What we currently see is price is pretty bearish. Price is bearish, forming lower highs. So we're gonna stick with that. So that's stellar. That's pretty much all the pairs that I'm going to cover for the session. And Nick went over a bunch of pairs. I went over a bunch of pairs, as always, inside of the Telegram group. You just pull it up. Inside of Telly, you guys will be able to see all of our analysis. You can click on literally any of them and pull it up and, catch the replay for the week. Today is the last day for the sale with the rapid signal, so it's 40% off. It ends tonight, right? Today's 24th, so yeah, it ends tonight at midnight. So if you guys are interested in getting in on the rapid signals, definitely sign up. Some of these trades will be given in there during the week, and then at the end of the week, we'll do a little review as always. So that's pretty much it for me. So I don't know if we might have lost Nick to the vid, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to, oh, he's muted. Feel free to drop in the chat. Obviously, we appreciate you guys sticking on. Utilize the analysis for the week. Utilize everything that was covered. The replay will be posted on the tube, on YouTube, and best of luck this week, guys.
Yeah, I was muted. I was sneezing. But yeah, guys, Angela pretty much said it all. You guys know where to find this stuff. The analysis is in the Telegram and Discord, and you have access all week. So use it. Hit us up if you guys need us. Best place probably be the Discord. But yeah, guys, have a good weekend. Enjoy what's left. A good week ahead. Enjoy what's left of your weekend. We will see you guys soon.
Oh yeah. As always, thanks for support, guys. Peace out.
Peace, guys.